Karen Hadley here from stampingbees.co.nz, a independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. So I'm really excited today. This is our inaugural video blog hop, YouTube video blog hop. So I will be sharing something with you, and down in the comments I will have the link to the next person and then the next person. And today's theme is something new. So I'm really excited to be able to share this with you and for you to be able to have a look at everyone else's amazing projects. So let's flip over and let's get started. As I said, the theme was new, and I do have a girlfriend who has just moved into a new home. She's taken a leap and gone out on her own with her children and moved into a new home. It was a really big thing for her, and I really wanted to send something to congratulate her on that. So I thought I would make this congratulations on your new home card, just to send a little gift to her and a little bit of support. So this is what I'll be sharing with you today. So there's a few items from a few different sets in the mini catalogue and the annual catalogue. So let me just run over the products that I've used for you today. So to start off with, I have cut some thick white cardstock, A4 thick white cardstock, just down the middle at 10.5 centimetres and scored at 14.9 centimetres. Bit of an awkward measurement for the scoring, but still gets the use of all the cardstock, which is fantastic. And then I have used this laser cut sheet from the Botanical Prints kit. It comes with 4 sheets in there, so I've used one of those. And I have used some DSP from the beautiful Parisian Blossoms paper. I just used this reverse side, well, both sides are stunning, but the lovely pool party side on there. So these are 3 strips at 9 centimetres by 2.5 centimetres, and I've got 3 of those. And just standard Whisper white cardstock at 7 by 7 centimetres. And this is the Botanical Prints paper matching the trellis, and this is 7.5 centimetres by 7.5 centimetres. I will write these measurements in the comments with inches, if you like, seeing as these will be shown around the world and not everyone is using centimetres. So that is what we'll be using today. And the stamp sets, so from the annual catalogue, this is on page 34, and this is called A Delightful Day. Some gorgeous little sentiments in here and background stamps. Treats made with love, if you like making the little treat containers with to give out to people. This is a fantastic label for that. But we're using today congratulations on your new home. And that's a photopolymer set. And the other set we're using, and this one is super cute. It is called Grandma's House. So I had to get this one when it came out, of course, and I thought that was just perfect for the new house card. It's so sweet. Mind you, I am called Nana, but still I am a grandma, so I was very excited to see this one. Okay, so let's get started. Now I don't pop the, I'm not going to glue that down on here, because when we put the strips on, that is going to glue down by itself. So we will start off with stamping. Now what I want to show you today is about masking. So as you can see on the card, I have stamped the image once in black, and then in the back I have used grey granite to make it look as though there's a group of houses. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I've used just a little bit of, it's got to be thin paper. Post-it notes are fantastic. So you just grab yourself a piece of that, and we will just give it a bit of a stamp. Now the trick is when you are cutting out something for masking purposes is to cut out on the inside of the line, and this will stop you getting that halo look on your project. So a couple of things to make sure that you have got thin paper that you're using, and that when you cut you cut out on the inside of the black line. So I'll just show you what I mean. Okay, so I'm just going to cut down here on the inside of the line. Just a tiny bit, but that does mean that it really does butt right up to your stamp without that white halo, because even though this is thin paper, it still gives you that little bit of a ridge. So you can just go around and cut all this out. Obviously I have pre-cut these so that you don't need to watch me cut all these out. So I have cut out a full stamp of the house and the 2 trees, etc. And I have cut out 2 separate houses as well. And I will show you why in just a moment. Probably only need 1 really, but I did cut out 2 just to be safe. So we will stamp initially with this full stamp in black. So give it a good inking. So I'm just going to get that down the bottom. Doesn't matter if it's not right in the middle. Beautiful. So next we need to give this a really good clean. We don't want the trees to come out in the next stamping. So we need to really, really give it a good clean. So I'm just using the stamp cleaning pad, which works really well. And I'm just going to wipe that off. Make sure I really focus on those trees. And then I'm also going to stamp off on my paper to make sure bits on there. Just get my little rubber somewhere. I don't know. Nope, not that one. I have somewhere my amazing glue removing rubber, which every home should have. I'll get them off later anyway. I can't find it just at the moment, but just make sure you really, really give that a good stamp off so that there is nothing that is coming off there for you. So that's clear. I can't see anything on there. So there are 2 ways of doing this. You could stick some tape on there and use your ink pad to ink up and then to remove the tape. But more often than not, I know I do, I forget to take the tape off and then you end up with a big blob. So what I decided to do is just use my ink pen. So this is grey granite and it's a Stampin' Right. So these are just filled with the ink like in your ink pad. So let me cover this up first. So I'm just covering this up, making sure that I get inside the lines, like so. And then I am just going to use this to ink up the stamp. So I'm using the thick end. There is a thin end and a thick end. Just need to be a little bit careful on that corner. And we will go all over this. So what I might do, I'll stamp this one for you, and then I will be doing about 4 of these. So I will just speed that up a little bit because it does take a little bit of time to ink this up each time and stamp, and I don't want you to go to sleep just yet. So I will do this one. So I'm just going to pop that there. And as you can see, that's protected that from the tree. So I'm just going to do that, and then I am going to do one on the other side, and I will do another one there as well. So I will speed it up and you'll still be able to see what I'm doing, but it will just mean that you're not watching me ink this up too much. Okay, so let's take these off. Now there's no right or wrong where you want to put these. It's just obviously giving the illusion of a group of houses. And once you take the mask off of the main stamp, you can see that it gives the illusion of those houses being behind that main one in the front. Now we get to the most exciting part, which I always enjoy, and that is colouring in. So I will do, I'll do the, so you can choose any colours that you like, just using blends. So this colour is Dark Pool Party, which is going to match in with the 3 strips that I have behind. Now I really wanted the house to stand out, so I've used Dark Real Red for that. It's a nice standout colour. The idea behind it is that I wanted the houses behind to be blah, so to speak, with the main house being a standout, bright and happy. That's the idea behind it. And I thought it's a great opportunity to go over masking. We all like to do a bit of colouring in. It's very therapeutic. So I will keep colouring. This house is a very happy house. Lots of bright, happy colours. Now when you're using these pens, go right up to the edge, but don't go too close because they will bleed over. So it's quite good to go right up and don't over soak it, otherwise you'll find it'll bleed out to the sides, which you don't want. So go right up to the line, really close but not over the line. And then we have the house and the trees beautifully coloured in. Now we will start popping our card together. So I have just with my scissors, which those who've watched my videos before know that I like to do, just to add a bit of softness to my card and a bit of texture, I like to just give the edges on some cards, not all my cards, a little bit of a rub. So you just need your scissors. Make sure you don't use your scissors that you keep for cutting your ribbon, and just go around the edges and give them a slight burr. We'll just roughen them up a little bit. So this is the paper from the Botanical Prints. So it's not anything too precise. You're just going along and just furring it up a bit. And it just, as I say, adds a little bit of softness to the card. And I'll just quickly do these a little bit as well. Noise is probably a bit annoying, but one. As I say, it doesn't take long. And the other thing we're going to do, so I have used some twine from the golf set, which is called, what's it called? I have got it written down here somewhere so I wouldn't forget. The Country Club Suite. That's with the golfing men, etc. And there is some twine in there. And we're going to be using the black one today. Now, I didn't really want to have it, this is how thick it comes, which is fantastic, but I did really want to have it a little bit thinner than that. So we're just going to, just wanted to add the softness to this as well. So we're just going to divide it up, and we just use half each. One for the bow and one for the background. So it does come apart quite easily. Get rid of all those bits. And then we're left with this piece here, which I might just take a little bit more off there as well. It's fantastic. It has lots and lots of threads on here. So you can just keep going until you're happy with the thickness of the twine that you want to use on your project. And that's not going to come apart for me. That is not playing ball. Okay. Generally, it's quite easy to do. Okay, it doesn't want me to. We will just use it for today's purposes. So we are going to be popping, I'm just going to pop a little bit of tape across the back there just to keep that together, because when we put the strips on, that is going to glue the trellis onto the card. I'm not going to be adding any glue. So just a little bit here just to keep it together. There we go. There. Great. So now let's just start gluing. Make sure that I have got that in the right place, because once I stick these down, a little bit of glue. And last piece. Just put that up just a little bit. It's fallen down a bit. There we go. So that glue now on here is going to keep that trellis in place. And we will pop a bit of glue on here. And I am going to pop this up on dimensionals. Okay. Oops. There's two on there. One in the middle. Doesn't want to come off. Fantastic things, dimensionals. Really does add that bit of difference to your project. And go about there. Now I am just going to grab my because I did want that on top of there. There we go. That's the Come Pick Me tool, lots of handy little bits on here. And we will do the bow. So just a standard bow. Just use the tool again to get that under there. Just love how when you've split the twine like this, it just really does give it that interest of extra bits. Oops, that bit's gone. And a softness for the card. Sometimes you obviously want it to look more solid, but for this card I didn't really. It's more of a feminine card, so I wanted to keep it a little bit softer. Go. Was something when I first started learning how to do cards, etc. Tying a pretty bow was really a big learning curve. Well, it's not easy initially, but you just play around with it until you're happy with it. That's probably a quite reasonable length actually. Maybe just even them up a bit. There you go. And the last thing, of course, is to put one of the last things, to put the sentiment together to go on the card. Now I have got just some scrap black here, and we will just use, I have got it here, right here. Make sure, I always put this on top of my Versamark, my anti-static pad, especially with black. I find you really do have to give it a good wipe because that embossing powder always seems to go where you don't want it. Okay, so give them a good ink up with some Versamark. Congratulations. And doesn't really matter where you stamp them, and we don't need to worry about them being straight because we're going to cut them out. And I've just used white embossing powder. So give them a good cover, tap any excess off, and then you use your heat gun to dry it off, which I have prepared something earlier. So that's already been heated. Okay, so we are just going to cut this. This is pretty straightforward. It's straight and the letters are all straight. So we're just going to cut that following the line of the letters. And I will just cut it in half. And then with this one, which seems to be on trend at the moment, cutting around the letters to give a bit of shape to your sentiment when you pop it on your project, which is quite lovely really. So it doesn't take long, you just follow the contours of the letters. And I'm just going to make sure that that one's rounded a bit. There we go. So congratulations on your new home. Now I've saved some of my black dimensionals from the holiday catalogue, which I will use for this. just going to pop, if I can get it off my thumbnail, a couple on here. And a couple on here. And a couple on here. Great. Okay, so let's pop these on. Congratulations on your of course it doesn't want to come off, and I'm trying to get it off so that I can get this done smartly. Great, last one. Now, the last thing I added, and I was really happy to think about these actually, I must admit, because it was absolutely perfect, I thought, for this project, was the bird ballad trinkets. And inside here, you have not only flowers and fleur-de-lis, etc., but there are keys. So a fantastic option to have on this card. And I have just used a glue dot from, well, oh, there we go. Just use this glue dot. To pop that on. And one last thing that I would do would be, if I can find it, there it is, the stamp. I'm just going to stamp inside the card, and I would also do this on the envelope. This way. Just nice, I think, to have something on the inside when you open the card. I wouldn't colour it in though, but you can if you want to, but I wouldn't use blends. If you use blends, that will go to the back of the card, and you don't want that. And there you have the card. Congratulations on your new home. I hope you enjoyed, and please, as I say, click on the next person with their fantastic project. All information regarding product, etc. is also in the comments. So I do hope you enjoy. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments and any questions. And thank you so much. Happy crafting.